In this video, I'm going to show you how to create quadrilaterals with fixed properties. These would be the special quadrilaterals like our squares, rectangles, trapezoids. I'm going to demonstrate the trapezoid and the rectangle. And then from that, you should be able to figure out how to make the other quadrilaterals based on their properties. So let's start with the simplest one, the trapezoid. So the special property by the trapezoid is it has two sides parallel. So in order to do that, we first have to draw the parallel lines. So we'll start by drawing a line, and then I need a line parallel to that. So in order to draw the parallel line, I need a point that is not on that line to draw the parallel line through. Now I'm going to go over to my special lines, choose the parallel line option, click on the point and the line I want to be parallel to. Whoops, that did not quite work, so let's undo that. Let's try this again. So I click the point and the line. Now I should have a parallel line. Okay, so we're good. All right, now we're ready to draw our trapezoid that will be anchored on these two lines. So I'm going to go over to my polygon tool and I'm going to click on the three corners that I have of my quadrilateral, and then I'll add another corner right here. And so now I have my quadrilateral. Now it has some extra stuff on it that I really don't want to see. Like, for instance, I would rather not see the names of the segments, so I'm going to take the labels off of those. I don't really need the point labels if I'm doing this for a general figure, so I'm going to take the labels off of my points. And then the lines, I don't really want to see the parallel lines because that draws attention to them. Now at this point, I have a quadrilateral that should have the special properties. So let me show you a little bit about how this works. So I can drag C, and you'll notice that C and D are going to move together. That is might be a little bit of a problem. D is the only point that moves independently, but it always stays a parallelogram. If I move this point, again, it stays a parallelogram, but it does kind of move the D around a little bit. And then A also moves D, and there's some relationship there, but you can see it's pretty good. Now the advantage of doing it this way with using those original points that I had is that I can actually move this figure around anywhere I like. So in what you were trying to do in your lesson, if you were trying to sort figures, you could actually move figures with similar properties to one side, and then you'd be allowed to move them around. So we have a trapezoid. Notice that you can also name that figure to be something that you want it to be. Right now the poly name I think is not showing. Yes, I'm not showing the label. So let's say I wanted to show it. Now right now it's labeled poly 1. If I wanted to name it figure 1 or just 1, then I can do that again by doing a right click on this and rename it. So if I want to just rename this 1, okay. Oh, it doesn't like that. So I have to have like P1 so it knows. I think you do have to have a letter. You can't just name it with a number. Okay, so this is P1. So if you had a whole bunch of polynomials, or you could name it Q1 if you want it for quadrilateral 1. But rather than having to write on them or anything, that's how you can label what this figure is. Okay, so far so good. Okay, so next we're going to try to create a rectangle. Rectangles have both sides of both opposite, they're parallelograms, so both pairs of opposite sides are parallel and congruent, but it also has all right angles. All the angles are right angles. So it turns out that we don't have to pay attention to quite all of those. The main thing is if we have a pair of parallel sides and a right angle, one right angle, then that will make all the angles end up being right angles, and we'll end up with and it has to do with because parallelograms have opposite angles congruent. So if you have one right angle, the one opposite is going to be a right angle, and that means the other angles also have to be right angles. So you'll see how this looks when we put this together. All right, so let's figure out how do we do this one. So again, start with a line in any orientation you like. I'm actually going to, well, we'll use this to be the long side. Okay, so again, the important thing about a rectangle is that it has a right angle in it. So the special line we want to create with this line that we've created is the perpendicular. So I'm going to go back over to my special lines, do the perpendicular. Again, I can just click on a point F and the line, and it will create a perpendicular through there. Okay, so now we're good. We've got a perpendicular. So the next thing that I need is I need another point to be another corner, the third corner of this rectangle. So I'm just going to put a point here, and that's going to provide me another corner. So right now I have 3 corners of my rectangle. So I need another side, and I know that this side also has to be parallel to this side. So I'm going to go back and use the same trick we used with the trapezoid, and I'm going to do a parallel line. So I click on the point and the line I want to be parallel to. Voila, I have a perpendicular line. Now I'm really close now. I've almost got it. The question is, where do I put the other corner? So I have to put it to make sure that it's going to actually end up where I want it to be. So we're going to actually create another perpendicular line through E, and then that intersection is going to be the other corner of our rectangle. So I can label the intersection by using intersect tool, and boom, I have that intersection there. All right, now we're ready to do the same thing we did with the trapezoid. I need to create the polygon. So I'm going to click on my polygon tool, and then I just connect the corners in order, and we are done. Again, the same thing I'd like to do. I'd like to go back to my point tool. I'm going to hide all the segments, show labels. Labels turn back on, so now I can turn them all back off again. Now no labels are on there. Again, I don't want all these lines that were used to create my rectangle, so I'm going to hide all of those lines by clicking on this. That takes care of those. And then I want to hide the labels for my points. So again, I can go back up to the points, show labels, show label again. So now all the labels are hidden. So there we go. I'm good. Now let's see how this rectangle behaves. So if I move these, ooh, now they're connected to each other. That's not good. I didn't want them connected to each other. How come they are connected to each other? Well, we're going to figure out how to unconnect them in just a minute. Why are those connected to each other? I'm really not sure. Oh, there you go. Now I've moved it. So now they shouldn't be connected to each other. There you go. Okay, so once I moved it away from it, it was not connected. The parallel lines are not connected any longer. Okay, so you can see that now I've got this rectangle that as I move that, I can change that shape. If I move this, it can move this way. I can actually make it be a square, but it doesn't have to stay a square. This corner will not move, so I can only move the 3 dots that are big fat dots, but you can see how you can change the shape of your rectangle by just dragging on the corners. So that's how you create a quadrilateral that's going to have properties. And again, you'll notice that I can move this around however I like, so I can again sort these. I hope you find this video helpful in telling you how to create polygons with fixed properties.